You've been knocked down. Life has beaten you. You're tired. You're frustrated. And you're looking at yourself in the mirror wondering, how the hell did I get here? I'll tell you how. You let your circumstances dictate your destiny. You let pain make you weak instead of using it to make you stronger. But today, that changes. Pain is not here to break you. It's here to shape you. The struggle you're facing isn't punishment. It's preparation. Every champion, every warrior, every unstoppable force this world has ever seen has been through fire. And you are no different. The question is, will you let the fire consume you, or will you use it to forge something greater? You see, most people let their past dictate their future. They live trapped in an old story, repeating the same patterns, feeding the same excuses. I wasn't born rich. I was betrayed. I lost everything. So what? That's not your identity. That's a chapter, not your whole book. And if you keep rereading the past, you'll never write the future you deserve. It's time to wake up. You're not a victim. You're not broken. You are powerful beyond measure. But power means nothing if you don't use it. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for motivation. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. Do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's how winners are made. And when you rebuild, don't just rebuild for survival. Rebuild for dominance. The world isn't going to hand you anything. You have to take it. But listen to me carefully. The comeback is always stronger than the setback. The pain you've endured, that's the foundation for your new life. So what are you going to do? Sit there and complain? Or rise up and become the warrior you were born to be? This is your moment. This is your time. Wake up and rebuild. Here's a powerful, immersive expansion of the keynote in a storytelling, motivational way. Pain. It's the one thing every single person on this planet will experience. No one is immune to it. No one can outrun it. And no amount of money, power, or success can shield you from it. But here's the truth most people never understand. Pain is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. It is the force that can either destroy you or build you into something unbreakable. The choice is yours. Think about the times in your life when you've been hurt, betrayed, or beaten down. Maybe you've lost someone you loved. Maybe your dreams crumbled in front of you. Maybe you've been grinding for years and still feel stuck in the same place, wondering why life seems to be so much easier for others. You start questioning yourself. Why me? Why is life so unfair? But the real question isn't, why is this happening to me? The real question is, what is this trying to teach me? Most people run from pain. They numb it with distractions. TV, alcohol, social media, meaningless relationships. They do everything they can to avoid facing it, hoping that if they ignore it long enough, it will disappear. But pain doesn't work like that. Pain doesn't just go away. It buries itself deep inside you, growing stronger the longer you suppress it, until one day, it explodes, and you find yourself lost, broken, and wondering where it all went wrong. But then, there are those who choose to face it head-on. The warriors. The ones who take the fire of their suffering and forge themselves into something stronger. The ones who understand that pain is not a curse. It's a gift. Take a moment and think about the most powerful stories of transformation in history. The greatest champions, the most inspiring leaders, the most unstoppable individuals you admire. Do you think their lives were easy? Do you think they woke up one day and just had everything fall into place? No. They were built in the fire. They were shaped by struggle. They were forced to endure things most people would crumble under, but instead of letting it break them, they used it as fuel. Think about a diamond. Before it shines, before it becomes valuable, it's nothing more than a lump of carbon. Weak, unremarkable, and ordinary. But put it under immense pressure, subject it to intense heat, and something incredible happens. It transforms. It becomes one of the hardest, most precious substances on earth. That's exactly how pain works in your life. It applies pressure. It tests your limits. It burns away everything that is weak and forces you to rise up stronger, sharper, and more powerful than ever before. But only if you let it. Most people quit when the pain gets too intense. They give up when it hurts, not realizing that the very moment they decide to push through could be the breakthrough they've been waiting for. They stop when they should be pushing forward. But those who refuse to quit, those who keep fighting even when it feels impossible, those are the ones who come out on the other side transformed. There was a man who had nothing. He grew up in poverty, rejected by society, beaten down by life at every turn. People doubted him, mocked him, told him he would never make it. He failed over and over again. He lost everything more than once. But instead of letting that pain define him, he let it drive him. He used every ounce of rejection, every moment of suffering, as fuel to build something unstoppable. And today, the world knows his name. Not because life was easy for him, but because he chose to embrace the struggle, to learn from it, and to let it turn him into something greater. Now, look at your own life. Where are you running from pain? Where are you choosing comfort over growth? Where are you letting temporary suffering keep you from reaching your full potential? Because here's the truth. Everything you want is on the other side of pain. The strongest version of you, the most unstoppable force you could ever become, is waiting beyond the struggle you're facing right now. But you'll never reach it if you keep avoiding the hard things. You have to flip the script. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" start saying, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of seeing pain as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity. Every failure, every heartbreak, every rejection is a lesson. It's sharpening you. It's refining you. It's preparing you for the next level. But only if you're willing to embrace it. Think of an athlete training for the Olympics. Every single day, they push themselves to the limit. They put their bodies through excruciating pain, lifting heavier, running faster, training harder than they ever thought possible. And why? Because they know that pain is the gateway to greatness. They don't complain. They don't make excuses. They don't quit when it hurts. They lean into the discomfort, knowing that every ounce of pain they endure is making them stronger. That's the mindset you need to have. Pain is not here to stop you. It is here to mold you. It is here to strip away the weak version of yourself, so that the strongest version can emerge. But you have to be willing to go through it. You have to be willing to hurt, to struggle, to suffer, because on the other side of that suffering is the life you were meant to live. The problem is, most people will never get there. They'll stay in the same place, stuck in the same cycle, because they refuse to embrace the struggle. They'll keep making excuses. They'll keep playing it safe. And they'll wake up one day full of regret, wondering what could have been if only they had the courage to push through. But that doesn't have to be you. You have a choice. You can either run from the pain, hide from it, try to escape it, or you can face it, harness it, and use it to transform your life. Because the truth is, pain is not your enemy. Pain is your greatest ally. It is the thing that will break you down and build you up stronger than ever before, if you let it. So stop running. Stop avoiding. Lean in. Embrace it. Let it push you forward. And watch how unstoppable you become. There comes a moment in life when you have to ask yourself, am I living the life I want, or am I stuck in a story I didn't even write? Too many people wake up every day feeling trapped, weighed down by the past, haunted by failures, regrets, and excuses. They tell themselves the same tired narrative. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I wasn't born into the right circumstances. And the worst part, they believe it. They believe that because something happened to them years ago, it has to define them forever. But that's a lie. That's a prison. And the only one keeping you locked inside is you. Your past is not a prophecy. It is not a contract that forces you to stay the same person for the rest of your life. Your past is nothing more than a collection of moments, some good, some bad, but none of them have the power to control you unless you allow them to. What keeps most people stuck isn't their situation. It's the story they keep telling themselves about why they can't change. Somewhere along the way, you adopted a narrative. Maybe someone told you that you weren't smart enough, strong enough, or talented enough. Maybe you failed once, and instead of seeing it as a lesson, you took it as proof that you're a failure. Maybe life knocked you down so many times that you started believing that getting back up wasn't worth it. And now, you carry that story like a chain around your neck, letting it dictate every move you make. But here's the truth. That story isn't real. It's just a script, and at any moment, you have the power to rewrite it. Think about a book. A book has chapters. And just because one chapter is full of pain, struggle, and mistakes doesn't mean the whole book has to be that way. But most people never turn the page. They keep reading the same chapter over and over, reliving the same pain, the same failures, the same excuses. They don't realize that all it takes is a decision, a single decision, to grab the pen and start writing a new chapter. You can break free from the chains of your old story, but you have to be willing to let go of the identity you've been clinging to. You have to stop seeing yourself as the person who can't, who isn't capable, who is destined to struggle. You have to destroy the excuses, burn the limiting beliefs, and make the choice to take control of your life. Because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to rewrite your story for you. That's your job. That's your power. Look at the most successful, unstoppable people in the world. Do you think they never struggled? Do you think they never failed? No. The difference between them and everyone else is that they refused to let their past define them. They didn't allow setbacks to become permanent. They didn't accept failure as their identity. They decided that their future was going to be written by their actions, not their excuses. You have that same power. Right now, in this moment, you have the ability to take back control. But it starts with a choice. You have to decide that your old story is dead. That the version of you who made excuses, who lived in fear, who settled for less, that person is gone. And in their place, a new version of you is emerging. A version that takes responsibility. A version that refuses to be a victim. A version that understands that the past is a lesson, not a life sentence. It won't be easy. Rewriting your story means stepping into the unknown. It means doing things that scare you, breaking patterns that have kept you comfortable, and pushing past the voice in your head that tells you to quit. But the pain of change is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Because if you don't take control of your life now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll be in the same place, telling yourself the same excuses, wondering why nothing ever changed. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more repeating the same story. This is your moment. This is your time to take back control, to rise up, to rewrite your future with the power and determination that has been inside you all along. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the author of your own life, and the pen is in your hands. The question is, are you finally ready to use it? There's a lie that too many people believe, a lie that keeps them stuck, waiting, hoping, and never truly moving forward. That lie is the idea that they need to feel ready before they take action. They wait for motivation, for inspiration, for that perfect moment when everything aligns, and they finally feel like doing the work. But that moment never comes. Motivation is a myth. It's temporary, fleeting, unreliable. One day, you wake up feeling unstoppable, ready to conquer the world. The next day, you don't even want to get out of bed. If you rely on motivation, you'll always be a slave to your emotions, tossed around by whatever mood you're in that day. And that's why so many people never achieve what they truly want, because they wait to feel like it instead of just doing it. The most successful, disciplined people in the world don't wake up every day feeling excited to put in the work. They don't always feel like training, grinding, building, or pushing forward. But they do it anyway. Not because they're motivated, but because they've built the muscle of discipline. They've trained themselves to act regardless of how they feel. They understand that emotions are unreliable, but discipline is a force that, once mastered, will take you anywhere you want to go. Imagine two people. One wakes up feeling sluggish, tired, and unmotivated. They hit the snooze button, scroll through their phone, tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. The other wakes up feeling the same way, tired, unmotivated, but they get up anyway. They push through. They stick to their routine, no matter what. Over time, who do you think wins? The one who waits for motivation, or the one who builds discipline? The answer is obvious, yet so many people still fall into the trap of waiting. They say, "I'll start when I feel ready." But readiness never comes. Winners don't wait. They take action, whether they feel like it or not. There's a reason top athletes, entrepreneurs, and world-class performers succeed at the highest level. It's not because they always feel like showing up. It's because they made a decision. No matter what, they will show up. No matter how tired, how discouraged, how uninspired they feel, they get up and do the work. That's the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who spend their lives wishing for it. Feelings are a trap. Your mind will always try to convince you to take the easy road, to stay comfortable, to wait until conditions are just right. But success doesn't care about your feelings. The world doesn't reward the person who had good intentions. It rewards the person who took action, consistently, relentlessly, even when it was hard. Think about the days when you forced yourself to do something even when you didn't want to. Those days when you pushed through, when you followed through despite the resistance. Didn't you feel powerful afterward? Didn't you feel proud? That's what discipline gives you, the ability to trust yourself, to know that no matter what, you will show up and execute. And once you build that kind of trust with yourself, there is nothing you can't accomplish. Discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your own life. It eliminates the need to negotiate with yourself every day, to question whether or not you'll take action. When you commit to discipline, there is no debate. You don't ask yourself if you feel like doing it, you just do it. But most people never reach this level because they let their emotions run their lives. They let temporary feelings dictate their long-term future. They say they want success, but only if it's convenient. They want the results, but they're not willing to push through discomfort to get them. That's why they stay stuck. That's why year after year, they make the same promises to themselves and never follow through. The moment you stop letting your feelings control you is the moment you take your power back. The moment you decide that no matter what, you will act. That's the moment you separate yourself from the majority of the world. This isn't about motivation. It's about mastery. It's about training yourself to take control of your mind, to override the weak voice in your head that tells you to quit, to delay, to wait. That voice is the enemy. And every time you choose discipline over feelings, you weaken it. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen the unstoppable version of yourself. The greatest athletes don't just train when they feel like it. The greatest entrepreneurs don't just work when they're inspired. The greatest leaders don't just show up when it's convenient. They commit. They execute. They follow through. And you can do the same. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. You need the ability to act regardless of how you feel, because feelings are temporary, but results last forever. Train yourself to move, to push, to execute even when every part of you wants to quit. Because the difference between winning and losing, between success and failure, between an average life and an extraordinary one, comes down to this. Are you willing to show up, even when you don't feel like it? Life will knock you down. That's not a question of if, it's a matter of when. No one escapes the storms, the setbacks, the losses. At some point, you will face moments that feel like everything is crumbling. Maybe you've already been there. Maybe you lost the job you worked so hard for. Maybe a relationship you thought would last forever shattered in front of you. Maybe your dreams, the ones you were so sure about, fell apart, leaving you lost, empty, and questioning everything. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. The world doesn't care about what you lost. It doesn't care about your excuses, your hardships, or how unfair life has been to you. The world only respects what you build from the rubble. The ones who rise, the ones who take their pain, their failures, their disappointments, and turn them into something greater. Those are the ones who earn respect. Those are the ones who make history. Those are the ones who understand that their greatest power isn't in what they had, but in what they create after everything falls apart. Pain is fuel. You can let it consume you, or you can use it to ignite something unstoppable inside you. Every great comeback story starts in the ashes. Every legend, every success, every story that inspires people to rise higher is built on a foundation of struggle. There was a time when you felt unstoppable. You had momentum, confidence, a vision. But then, life hit. And maybe it hit hard. Maybe it took everything from you. Maybe you found yourself looking in the mirror, wondering how you ended up here. But what separates those who stay down from those who rise is a decision. A decision to rebuild, to step back into the fight, to refuse to let the past dictate the future. You can either sit in your pain, replaying what happened, drowning in regret, or you can stand up and start building again. But this time, you build with purpose. This time, you don't just rebuild what you lost. You create something even stronger. Because if you've been through the fire and survived, you're not the same person anymore. You're stronger. You're wiser. You've seen what rock bottom looks like, and now you have a choice. Will you let it define you, or will you use it to refine you? Some people never come back. They let the loss become their identity. They tell themselves the story that they'll never recover, that they'll never be as strong as they once were. But the ones who do rise, they don't just get back to where they were. They become unstoppable. They turn their pain into power, their failures into lessons, their setbacks into a setup for something even greater. You may not control what happened to you, but you control what happens next. The world won't give you a second chance. You have to create it. No one is going to hand you a fresh start. You have to carve it out of the chaos, brick by brick, with discipline, resilience, and an unshakable belief that your best days are still ahead of you. Most people will give up. Most people will settle. Most people will accept the loss and tell themselves they can never get it back. But you are not most people. You have been given a gift, the opportunity to rebuild, to rewrite your story, to show the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you are more than what happened to you. What do you do when life takes everything from you? You build something greater. What do you do when you've been broken? You rise stronger. The comeback isn't just about getting back to where you were. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that was always meant to emerge from the fire. The world doesn't care about your losses, but it will respect what you create. So get up, get moving, and start building. The strongest version of you is waiting on the other side. You've been through the fire, but the fire didn't break you. It forged you. It stripped away the weak, the hesitant, the fearful version of you and left behind something unstoppable. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are the architect of your own destiny, the warrior of your own comeback. The world may have counted you out. People may have doubted you, whispered behind your back, said you'd never rise again. Let them talk. Let them watch. Because soon, they won't be whispering. They'll be wondering how you did it, how you turned pain into power, how you took nothing and built something unshakable. It's time to wake up. Time to stop waiting for someone to give you permission, to stop looking for a sign, to stop making excuses about why you can't. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You are the sign. You are the permission. You are the force that will rewrite your future. Winners don't wait. They don't hope. They don't rely on luck. They grind. They push. They bleed for what they want. They get up when no one is watching. They work when everyone else is sleeping. They sacrifice, suffer, and struggle because they know that on the other side of pain is greatness. Look around you. Look at your life right now. This is the moment. This is the turning point. 5 years from now, you will either look back with pride knowing that this was the day everything changed, or you will look back with regret, wondering why you let another opportunity slip through your fingers. You don't have another lifetime. You don't have unlimited chances. This is it. The clock is ticking, and every second that passes is a second you will never get back. The only way to honor your struggles, your pain, your losses, is to rise so high that nothing and no one can ever shake you again. Stand up. Fight back. Take control. Rebuild with fire in your heart and steel in your soul. Let them doubt you. Let them laugh. And when you rise, when you prove them all wrong, when you stand at the top and look down at everything you've overcome, remember this moment. The moment you chose to be relentless. The moment you decided that nothing and no one would stop you ever again. Because the world belongs to those who refuse to stay down. It belongs to those who fight. It belongs to you. Now go claim what's yours.